Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all good. So today we're going to start a new chapter, which is the time value of the money. And for the activity that we have performed at last class, I will share the solutions with you so you can just go and check if there's something wrong. If you will not get the response and the feedback from the solutions, you'll be more than welcome to see me in my office. Okay, today's subject is about the time value of the money. It's one of the crucial subjects in the finance, not only the finance, like everywhere. So going from the individual to the businesses, everyone is concerned about the value of the money. Because what we have here is year by year, the prices are going up, sometimes going down. Right after the pandemic period, we have witnessed a huge increase in the prices in everything. Like we witnessed the inflation itself. If it's not the case, like hyperinflation. In Kazakhstan, the inflation is around like nowadays is expected 10%. It's like normal. Inflation, it's not something bad. Okay. It is bad when it goes beyond the barriers, beyond the set limits that has been done by the government. There are some certain barriers, there's some limits that the government sets that the inflation should not go beyond that. Once the inflation goes beyond these things, then it becomes a problem. But when it does not, then it means like the country is growing. The inflation basically it's a signal of growth. So sometimes, but however, but we have perceived the inflation as a big issue, but it's not. The inflation, it's a signal for growth of a country. If there is inflation, like normal inflation, it's okay. If you compare the developed countries and developing countries, developed countries have got like 3 to 5% inflation, and it's acceptable and it shows that the country is growing. But when it comes to developing countries like Asian or Central Asian countries, their inflation to 7 to 10%. If the inflation goes beyond the 10%, then there is a kind of signal to the financial analysis, to the economists, the governmental bodies and authorities that there is something wrong in the country. They need to do something to solve that inflation. For example, so far in Scandinavian countries, in Japan, they were struggling with deflation. It's an opposite of the inflation. Can you tell me what is the problem of when there's too much inflation in the country? People are not capable to support themselves in terms of buying and the purchasing power of the people are going down. Somebody's texting. One professor. Okay. So the purchasing power of the people are deteriorating, which is not really good. So that's the main concern about the inflation. When the people they cannot buy something, do you think? And at the same time, the companies when they produce, they cannot sell it. So it's a kind of chain. Okay, people don't buy, companies they don't produce. Because why they should produce if nobody buys? If they don't produce, do you think that they will hire someone to pay the salaries? They don't produce, they don't hire. So unemployment goes up, production level goes down, and it creates recession. Like that's the consequences of the inflation. And at the end of the day, you will be facing the financial crisis. Like nowadays in Turkey, I'm giving the example of the Turkey that I've witnessed, and like I'm originally from there. We can say that it's a place where the hyperinflation taking place. It's like more than 150% inflation. 150%, imagine. Here we're saying about the 10% in Kazakhstan, but in Turkey we say it's 150, even more. It's official 150, but in reality it's different. Why it happened? Because of some monetary policy and monetary tools that have been taken during the inflation was not correct. And when there is inflation, there's only one tool there's only one instrument can help you to fight that inflation. It's interest rate. Interest rate, it's a cost of borrowing. It's a value of the money that we will be measuring here. That's why it is main subject, it's main concern for everyone to consider the time value of the money. It's very important because $1 today is not equal to $1 tomorrow. In 2000s, there was a big crisis in Turkey again. Like inflation, it's a kind of inheritage in Turkey. It's from the beginning. Imagine in 2000, now you can buy one, just making up the example of döner. You know the döner, like with Iran, you can buy in Turkey for, let's say, 100 for 200 Turkish lira. Okay. And today, if it's 200 Turkish lira, imagine one döner. Okay, just give you the example. And the people, and if you want to buy flats, you can pay 2 million. Okay, 2 million, one flat. Like in Antalya, I'm talking like just 1 + 1, 1 there. Imagine in couple days you wake up, you realize that you can buy only the döner for 5-6 million. Imagine you wake up, you go to the market and you see that one döner costs you not like 200 Turkish lira, but 5 million Turkish lira or 6 million Turkish lira. When I worked in Turkey, when I was a student there as well, I used to receive the scholarship of 1 billion of Turkish lira in those times, 2000 times. And this was the reality. This was the hyperinflation. We'll talk more about the inflation stuff, like there are many things that will come, but just to give you the example, like it's unbelievable. The economy is collapsed. Nothing was working. Those people who had like millions deposits, imagine what happened to your money. It's purely deteriorated. Like now you have 10 million Turkish lira in account. You're able to buy a flat. Imagine tomorrow you wake up, now you're able to buy just 2 döners. That would be crazy. That would be really crazy. Like you're bankrupt. The country is bankrupt, not only the firms. So it's a very big issue to consider time value. Imagine the banks who has given the loans for 10 years, mortgage loans. Do you know what does the mortgage mean? Yeah, it's a financing house, financing the house. So it's the money that you pay back to the bank. Imagine the bank gives you a loan with the interest rate, let's say 15%. In Turkey, it was 10% per year. 10% per year for mortgage. For, let's say, 20 years. For 20 years. And you got that loan with the 10%. This 10%, it includes the inflation. And now, those who got 5 years ago the loan, they got for this rate. And now inflation is 150%. Imagine how much the banks, they incur the losses. Because they are the ones who will receive this money in the future. And the money they will receive, it will be nothing. They won't be able to finance their costs. Another issue is that it's good for the borrower. Borrower is happy. He borrowed at 10%, and now let's say, I can tell you the situation with my brother. My brother, he bought the flat there. He bought the flat for 200,000 Turkish lira 5 years ago. Now you cannot find even the one single room. Maybe renovating one room, it can be enough. But 5 years ago, you would be able to buy a good flat for 200,000. My brother bought using the mortgage, and he's still paying the mortgage. His monthly payment is 2,000 Turkish lira. In terms, maybe when it was comparing that time, the salary, just for you to compare, it was like 50% of his salary. That time, like 50% of his salary, he was paying the mortgage 5-6 years ago. But now, even if it doesn't make 1% of his salary, his salary now is 60,000 Turkish lira. because they increase the debt because of the inflation. The government forces the companies to increase the salaries because so that the people will be able to afford to buy something. Now he's earning average salary 60,000. If you want to survive in Turkey, minimum salary should be 40,000 Turkish lira, like $1,000. $1,000 will be for you just to survive for one person. Like it's unimaginable. I'm just trying to underline the inflation. How the inflation changed the situation with the things. So whenever you will do any investment planning or financial planning, you should take into account the time value of the money. Very important. Even if you go give the loan for a couple of years, take into account. You buy the flat. Whenever you buy the flat in here in Almaty or whatever place it is. By the way, do you know what is the deposit rate in Turkey? 45%. You put 45% per year. You put 1 million, in 1 year you get 450,000. You put 2 million, you get 900. So the people, it's a very bad situation. Why? The people are not kind of motivated to invest. What they do, they go and put their money into deposit account. They don't buy flats, they don't buy any investment. They say, why should I kill myself and put into the risk where I can earn from the rent just 10% per year? But from just putting into deposit account, I can earn even much more. That's the situation. So in this chapter, we will cover the future value and we'll try to understand what is the compounding in this future value. We'll calculate the present value and how the discounting is related to it. And we'll calculate the interest rates, waiting time for the time value of the money equation and apply time value of the money equation using the formula and spreadsheet. And we'll explain the rule of 72 with a simple estimation of doubling the values. The value of the money at the end of the stated period is called future value or compound value of that sum of the money. So if you want to know what is the value of $100 after 5 years, that is called the future value of the money. I mean, what I can buy for $100. Like how much money you spend per month these days for you to survive as a student? That's an average. Is $500 enough? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah? If you go back, maybe 10 years back, people used to live for $100. Imagine what will happen after 10 years. Maybe $2,000, $3,000. Take the Hong Kong example. The prices there are unbelievable. I have a friend, he's working there. He said, like, I pay for rent $4,000. Just rent $4,000. Education, my kids, he said, plus the health. It's around I spend for family to survive, like normal way, like $10,000 to $15,000. It's unbelievable. Like something, and you might ask, like, how the general people are surviving, like those local people. Not everyone is earning like $15,000, $20,000 there. Not everyone is earning. But how they're surviving? Government support. Fully subsidized. If you are renting the flat, the government, like 80% is subsidized by the government. And anything the health center and everything is supported by the government. Otherwise, they won't be able to do it. So we'll determine the attractiveness of alternative investments, and we'll figure out the impact of the inflation on the future cost of assets, such as car and house, and so on. So it's a case that should not be ignored, like inflation, time of value of the money, that should be taken into account. Now, single period scenario, imagine the John deposits $200 for a year in an account that pays 6% a year. At the end of the year, he will receive 212. How it happens? Just you get the 6% of $200. That amount you will add it to the main principal that you have deposited, and it will be the total value in 1 year. What about the 2 years? How are you going to calculate if you keep it for 2 years? So 6% of $200 multiplied 212. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Why you are doing that like this?
Year. Yeah. And then next year just 6% of 2.
Okay, let's illustrate in Excel then. Just to clarify, I like it. Now, you have $200. We said if you're gonna keep it for 6%, yeah. And if it's gonna keep it 1 year, we said you're gonna have this multiplied by 6. So this much you're gonna earn, yeah. And in total, you will end up with 200 plus 12. Like if this is the first year, okay? In year 0, by the way, year 0 is always treated in finance as year today. So you just keep it in mind. Year 0, it's today time. What about the second year if you're gonna keep it like for 2 years, this $200? You invest this one and you get this much. What if you keep it for 2 years, this $200? Let's say you're gonna keep it for 2 years. What will be the amount here? How do you calculate? Like $12 I'm gonna earn here, yeah? $12 in here, yeah? Or
Will be
why like this?
12.
Why 212, not 200?
Also the purpose is $12.
Dollars.
Yes.
So what you say that why should I keep this money away if I reinvest as well? Yeah. So what you're trying to underline here is interest on interest. Like the interest that you generated, you reinvest that amount again to earn more interest on that. This is called a compounding effect. Okay. This is the example that I show here. It's a more simple interest. Like you don't earn interest on interest. You earn just interest on your principal amount and you just generate. But if it's compounding, that will give you the chance to earn more money, compounding interest. So you earn this $12 here, and in total you reinvest in year 1, 212. Okay, that is how it works. If Jones closes accounts after 3 years, how much money will he have accumulated? How much money is that interest on interest component? What about after 10 years and so on? So basically, you don't have to multiply one by one, okay? Like 200 here, then like 200 multiplied 1 plus 6%, yeah? And again, this multiplied 1 plus 6%. We can do it like this, okay? We can do it like this. However, it will take time, like for 10 years. Can you calculate for 10 years? Okay, still you can calculate. I can drop it like this, you can do it, okay? It will work. But imagine if it's 100 years, how long it will take for you to calculate. So there is a way to do it. What you can do, if it's 10 years, you just make 200 multiplied 106, 1 plus 6% to the power of 10. Yeah. That will give you exactly the same answer. Okay. Because 6% is repeating every year. It's like every year, same, like 10 times you have 6%. That's why you're raising to the power of 10. That's the main reason. And there's a formula that you can use the function in here. It's very good, but you can just put future value formula because we're calculating the future value of the today's money. You open the bracket, rate, which is 6% we said. Number of period, we said it's 10. And PMT, we don't have it for now. So PMT, oops. Present value, I mean, it means like today's value. You're getting this like $200. But in Excel, when you use this function, you should put minus here always. It's just a function that requires this technique. You just put the minus sign before the present value amount, so that when you get the results, you don't get the negative results. Okay. And you use this future value formula. So this is one of the functions that we will know. Like you can change to, let's, I want to see what will be the value after if I keep this money, $200 for 10 years, for 100 years. So you're gonna have like, what about 200 years, maybe for my grandchildren, 23 million. So, or on the other side, like, it's not the deposit rate, it could be treated as inflation. What will be the value of the money after 100 years? This $100, now you can purchase this amount of the things, but what about after 100 years? If I want to buy the same goods and services, how much I should have at that time? So $200 today, after 200 years, it will be equal to 23 million. So they are same amount. Like if someone tells you, look, give me $200 now, I will return it after 200 years. He has to return you 23 million, not the 200, because the value of the money at that time will be the difference. Okay. Okay, time consuming. So let's say that you want to know how much money you will have accumulated in your bank account after 4 years if you deposit all 5,000 of your high school graduation gifts into account that pays the fixed interest rate of 5% a year. And you leave the money untouched for all of your college years. Again, you can calculate easily, like 5,000 multiplied by 1 plus 5% to the power of 4. Or using the future value function, still we can calculate. So I have 5,000 here, 5%, and 4 years. My future value is equal to this rate, number of period 4, and present value, again, I'm putting the negative sign here, 6,000. Okay. Now, any question? Or other way around, I said to calculate like 5,000 multiplied by 1 plus 5% and to the power of 4. That's what we get. That's we call it the future value compound. The future value is always compound, okay? Always compound, like interest on interest. But everything we consider here yearly basis. Okay, here we go. Future cost due to the inflation. Okay, let's say that you have seen your dream house, which is currently listed at $300,000. But unfortunately, you're not in a position to buy it right away. And you have to wait at least another 5 years before you will be able to afford it. If your house value is appreciating at the average annual rate of inflation of 5%, how much will a similar house cost after 5 years? So basically, you're estimating the cost of house, including the inflation. So 300,000 multiplied by 1 plus 5% to the power of 5. So 300,000, 5%, and 5 years. And the similar house after 5 years will be costing to the power of 5 years. Or I can do the future value. Rate is 5%, number of periods is 5, and present value is 300. Again, minus sign. Any question? Okay. And of course, so far we have seen the future value. It's time to talk about the present value, which involves the discounting the interest that would have been earned over the given period at a given rate of interest. So therefore, it's exactly the opposite or the inverse calculation of the future value. So such calculations are useful in determining the today's price or the value of an asset that or cash flow in the future. So the formula that we use is determined through the PV is here. In the future, while we were multiplying by the 1 plus interest rate, but in the present value, we will be dividing it. It's just an opposite of the calculation of the future value. So basically, imagine if someone tells you, I will give you $1,000 now, or I will give you $1,500 after 5 years. Which one would you get? Yeah, that's the important. So you need to see the. So this one you know, like 1,000 you might think, but what about 1,500? How much it will worth today? Is 1,500. So what you will do? You will just put in the place. Let's assume that the inflation is 10%, and you want to see what is this future value. Okay, this $1,500. What will be this future $1,500 equal today? So you should bring it to from future today. We are here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this 1,500 is here. But we need to know what will be the value of this money today in year 0. So basically, so we need to calculate the present value. Rate is 10%, we said. Number of period is 5. And the future value is 1,500. And you close. And we put negative sign before the present value, as I said before. Always. So today's value is equal to $931. So it's not a good deal to receive this $1,500 in 5 years. And our expected inflation is 10%, but we never know. It might go up, it might go down. Right. But on average in Kazakhstan, it's 10%. So it never goes below, but it might go above. So you might not accept this. Okay. Single periods now. When we calculate the discounted value of the future lump sum to be received 1 period from today, we are actually basically subtracting the interest rate that would have been earned, some of them from its future value at a given rate of interest. And multiple rates, it's basically used to determine through this formula. So example in here, let's you just won jackpot, $50,000 at the casino, and would like to save a portion of it as to have the 40,000 to put it down on the house after 5 years. So your bank pays you 6% rate of interest. How much money will you have to set aside from the jackpot winnings? So your jackpot winnings is $50,000, and you would like to save a portion of it as to have 40,000. So you want to have 40,000 to put down in the house. So you want to have it not now, but after 5 years. How much money you should deposit, or how much money you should have it now, or to put into deposit with the 6%. So means that again you're going to calculate present value, but you have this $50,000, but you don't know how much money you need to put it into the account, so that in the future you will end up with the 40,000. It's basically present value again. So PV rates 6%. Number of period we say 5 years. And the future value is at 40,000. And of course, we put the negative sign before the present value here. So from the jackpot winnings, you can set aside as 29,000 so that in the future, in 5 years, you can accumulate 40,000. That's the point. Another question you might ask yourself, like how much money I should put today, so that in the future I might have some amount of the money to achieve my goal, or maybe to pay the education fee or your master program, and so on. Okay. And of course, guys, it's very important whenever you solve the problems related to the time value of the money, especially when one involves multiple period or complex combinations, it is always good to draw the timeline, not to get lost what you are asked. Sometimes you might be asking the question to calculate the value of the 5th year for the 2nd year. Like you should bring it from the 5th year to the 2nd year. You should bring it from the 5th year to the year 0. So that's why you might need it like, let's say you have a plan, okay? You started your education, you're a junior student, and you have 4 years ahead. Okay? And your parents said, look, if you graduate, I'm gonna give you this much after your graduation as a gift. And you might think like, how much money I should bring it, or not you, your parents might think how much money I should put it aside today so that I can earn this much money. Let's say, let's get this example. Like somebody promised you to give you $50,000 as a gift after 4 years, okay? Or make it 5 years again. But you need to put some money into account. Okay? You need to put money some into account. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're here. You're here. And your parents said, look, we'll give you this $50,000 here. Okay? You will get it. You'll get this 50,000. But your parents says we don't have money now to put into deposit to earn this 50,000. We'll have it in year 1. We'll have it here to put into deposit account. Okay. The question in here, how much money they should put 1 year from now into account to earn $50,000 in 5 years. So to give you a gift.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, perfect. Now you put the period not 5 years, but you're gonna put the period of 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you need to put it after 1. That's the point. So that's why it is good to draw the timeline. Sometimes you might be asked to calculate this $50,000 for the year 3 for some reason. I don't know. It could be any reason, but you need to be able to calculate. Then how many periods you're going to consider in here? 2 periods, like this. 1 and 2. The same thing with the future value. Okay, that's the main idea, to draw the timeline. Okay. Now, your retirement goal is $2 million, and the bank is offering you a certificate of deposit that is good for you for 40 years at 6%. What initial deposit do you need to make today to reach this your goal at the end of the 4 years? So basically, you're calculating the present value of this future value amount. Like $2 million you will have it when you get retired, but how much money you should deposit now so that you can have this much in 40 years. So again, we're calculating the PV, and we can see that you need to put almost like $200,000 today in order to end up with $2 million in the future, like in 40 years when you get retired. And it's a good question. Why? Because in Kazakhstan, whenever you start working, you start receiving the pensions. Okay, these pensions are in an account where you can see them, and some of the money you can use to buy the house. Some of the money you can use to give for reinvestment. You find a broker, like you kind of allocate your resources to this broker, and the broker can reinvest at any portfolio he may find it like interesting and attractive. So that's why you need to know. Maybe you might ask the broker, please go and put this my money into bank account that pays me the 15% return. I want to have the stable return. And whatever money will be generated, you may end up with, for example, now I have in my account 6 million tenge as a pension, okay? Just an example. And I can just use this 6 million tenge to invest with 15%. In Kazakhstan, if you want to get retired, you have to get the age of 63. I am now 20 years old. Just make now. I'm not 20, but 20. So I need to like 43 years, yeah? So I have like 43 years. I have 43 years in my house. So, because I'm 20 now, in 43 years. So you are the one who will decide where to invest this money, the 6 million. Either if you leave it to the government will do some investment, put it in the financial markets, buying stocks, maybe something, but they will be returned. Sometimes you will see this 6 million becomes 5 million. Sometimes becomes like what, 5.5. If you don't want this to happen, then you say that I will like allocate my resources and give to the broker. The broker will put into some deposit account. It will give you the deposit rate of 15%. And keep it for 15%. Like future value. Rate is we said 15%. Number of period is 43. And present value is 6 million. I want to see what amount I will have if I just put into the bank account. Good money? 2 billions. Yeah, not bad. Maybe if like I'm good enough and strong enough, I would be able to live like for 20 years. Yeah, then I can just divide it by 20. I can see like every year I will be receiving 120 million tenge as pension. If you want to compare monthly, just divide by 12, 10 million. I don't know at that time what will be the value of that money, it's another question. But still, not bad. Still not bad. But if I kind of give my resources allocated to broker where he will invest, but the broker might offer you different types of investments where you can be offered to buy the bonds. Okay, the bonds gives you the 25% return. And if it's 25%, okay, make this on 25%. See how the things are changing. 88 billions. Not bad. So this is the reality in Kazakhstan, where you can, not only in Kazakhstan, it's everywhere. It's a capitalistic system of allocating your pension funds. Even in some of the developed countries, they have like a pension fund manager where they do really good investment. But it's risky too. Like if you invest, let's say, in financial market, you might end up with losing everything, all money. So you're not going to earning anything, but you will lose it. So you should be careful about it. But it's good that the government allows you this type of alternatives. Either part of it you can use to buy the real estate, like it's investment too. I want to make my investment in real estate because in the future, the real estate will increase in price. If you compare the price of the real estate 5 years ago, and now they are totally different. In Dostok, when I came here like 6 years ago, the price of one flat was 20 million. New flat, like 2 bedroom, 60 meter squares. Can you find for 20 million something here now? Not even a single room. Maybe they will sell one door for you of that flat, but not the flat itself. It's not around more than 100 million that flat that I was looking for. So you might be thinking like, it's good for me to buy the real estate so that I kind of secure my investment. Okay, Secretary of State of William Seward purchased Alaska from Russia for the sum of 7,200,000 or about 2 cents per acre. At that time, the deal was tapped Seward's folly, but from our vantage point today, did Seward get a bargain after all? So would it cost what would it cost today if the land were exactly the same condition as it was 140 years ago? And at the prevailing interest rate over this time, they were actually 4%. So imagine this money was the price of the Alaska. So what is that value? Imagine you should go back, you put money that time, and what would it the value today if the interest rate or the inflation used to be like 4%? Just calculate for how much it would cost. So you need to calculate the future value. 4%, the growth rate, and the number of the period is 140 years. Yeah. But the case, you cannot buy something for 1 billion. You cannot buy a country for 1 billion. For 30, even for 10 billions. Okay. So John, college student, needs to borrow $5,000 today for his tuition bill. He agrees to pay back the loan, lump sum amount, in 5 years from now. After he is out of the college, the bank state that the payment will need to be 7,000 something. And John borrows 5,000 from the bank. What interest rate is he paying on his loan? So now we need to calculate the rates. There's a formula you can work on that. You rearrange the formula with the logarithm and so on, and you can calculate. But you can use the function too. So the formula is here. It's a future value over the present value, 1 over n. Minus 1. You can calculate, it's around like 7%. Or you can use the function of the time value of money calculator here, like Texas and so on. So there are the financial calculators too. But these financial calculators are old enough already. They are used in exams, like if you want to take the CFA exam, you have to get the financial calculator. But if you go to the workforce, you will not find any single person who is using this financial calculator. It's like it's old times. Now most of the people are using the apps. There are many apps are developed. There are many Excel functions. It will help you why you need to carry out and so on. Even my case, now this ChatGPT is doing well these days. When I was doing my PhD, I spent 1 year in learning the programming, like C#, C++, and JavaScript. The purpose of learning this programming was to develop the financial app for my computer, so I don't have to use the financial. I said, like, let me develop the program, desktop applications, for where I just enter the numbers, and it calculates everything for me. It took 1 year for me to learn this, and I did it and succeeded. Like, so I learned, I got the advantage and so on. But now with the ChatGPT, you can ask this coding. It can give you in 1 minute. You can just copy and put it into C#. It gives you the financial calculator for the desktop.
It doesn't necessarily.
Sorry?
It doesn't work
No, it works.
Both. Kind of.
No, you have to check everything, all the formulas. I tried it, it works. It works in Python, it works in C#. You check. If you know the programming, you have to check all the codings, all the algorithms that it gives you. Then it works. Of course, it's a big lie. It's a big lie if you're using the free version of it. But when you just pay for it and try to control every aspect, he at least not trying to lie, but most of the time he might tell you give you the mise. But for the calculator, it's just a simple thing. Like it gets all the coding and gives you just copy and paste it, and it works in my case. And the issue in here, just I wanted to share that now these things are already developed, and the calculator, that the financial calculator they have it, they using the same algorithm of the calculation of the things. So it's old, outdated, and the people are not kind of using it. We had one professor from the US. He was saying like, "You guys, are you still using this financial calculator?" He was like, he came here for as visiting professor. You might have a chance to see him. Halil Fimas. He's from the Rollins College. Rollins College. He said like, guys, you should stop using this financial calculator because some of the professors still using the financial calculators. It's expensive. Why you should pay like $50, $60 for it if you're gonna use just once and then you just throw it away? I'm not gonna use that all. And in my class, like 3 years ago, I decided like I'm not gonna use that all. That's it. No more financial calculator. Corporate finance, in financial management, still I find some students who buys it and use it. But I don't forbid them, like you can still they can use it. Starting maybe from next year, I will start like forcing the student to use the Excel purely. Because you're gonna be going to the work, they're not gonna ask you, are you capable to use the financial calculator? I haven't seen any interview questions that they ask like, I heard, like they ask, can you use the financial calculator? Nobody will ask this question. They might ask you BI, they might ask you Excel spreadsheet, whether how much you're good enough with that. That's it. Again, guys, don't limit yourself to the Excel we learn here. The Excel is the beyond. Even very good music. Somebody woke up because of you. So Excel now you can integrate the ChatGPT. I don't know, maybe you heard it or not. So you can integrate ChatGPT into Excel, and it will do much things for you. Okay, now let's go further. You are planning a commissioner boomtown and a growing city southwest. The city council has estimated that the city population will increase very rapidly over the next 20 years, reaching estimated 250,000 today. The population is like 94,000. What is the projected growth rate for the city? Again, we are calculating the interest rate. Yeah. Future value divided by the present value, raised to the power 1 over number of the years, and minus 1. And in Excel function, it's easy to do it. We use just here the rate. We type rate, open the bracket, put the number of periods. Number of periods is 20 years. Present value is 94,222, and the future value is 250,000. That's it. That's what we do. But present value should be always treated as a negative number if you use this function. So you should end up with 5%. Okay. So whatever function is good for you, you can use. You can use this formula to calculate the rate. You can use the Excel function to calculate the rate. It's up to you. But I do prefer and do recommend you to use the Excel function. Try to get used to Excel. Okay, let's go. Your goal life is to be a millionaire. Today, your financial portfolio worth $3,733. Having studied this chapter carefully and being shrewd investor, you determine that you can earn 15% every year on your portfolio. You do not plan to invest any additional money on this portfolio, nor will you withdraw any funds from it before it grows to 1 million. Given your 15% rate, how long will you have to wait to become millionaire if this investment represents all your wealth? So you're here, 3,700, and after some period, you should be a millionaire, but you have in mind that you have 15% growth rate. How long you should wait for it? You have to calculate the number of the periods. Again, there's a formula. You're taking the ln using the logarithm. Number of periods is equal ln 1 million over the future value over the present value, and 1 plus interest rate. That would give you the exact number of the years required. But if you use the Excel function, it's different. You just type NPR, number of periods. You put the rate, and the rate is 15%, we said. You put the present value, which is 3,733, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 0.24. And you put 1 million as future value. Okay. 40 years, you will wait for it. So you see a number of periods. The output. Okay, that's what we have for rate and for the number of periods. So we have future value, we have present value, we have number of rate and number of periods. And of course, rule of 72, very interesting one. Rule of 72 estimates the number of the years required to double some of the money that you have it now at a given rate of interest. Can also be used to calculate the rate of interest needed to double some of the money at a certain number of the years. For example, if your rate is 9% and it would take 8 years to double some of your money. How you do it? Just 72 divided by 9, whatever amount you get it, you will double. Let's check it. Let's check with the Excel function. Imagine you have now $100 and you want to double it, which is making 200, yeah? This is present value. Yeah, this is future value. And the rate, let's say, is 9%. How long it should take to double it? Rule of 72 tells you how long? 8 years, yeah? It's just basically 72 divided by 9. So it should take 8 years. Let's calculate by the function. I will put like number of periods. Rate is 9. Present value is 100 with negative. And future value. And guys, this rule of 72 does not give you the exact number. It's an approximation. It's an approximate number. Works? Approximately works, yeah. You can increase these values, make it like 200 and 400. Make it like 5,000 or 500 to 1,000. So approximately 8 years. Same thing with the, if you want to calculate how much interest there should be if the number of the interest rate is number of the years are available, then you can use the rule of 72. Okay. So this is what we call the rule of 72. And this is all for this chapter. You might be asking, like, why is rule of 72? who has created, like, who stays behind this guy? It even nobody. It comes from the mathematicians in maybe 15th centuries. He has created these things, but not the finance related, but this rule of 72, like doubling. However, it's still, he is not the one who created, he mentioned in his works. He did not say that this is like I invented and this is mine. It was like one Italian mathematician, if I'm not mistaken, but still he did not claim that it is yours, that it belongs to him. So you have a chance to like claim it's yours. So nobody knows. Like I searched, investigated, I couldn't find like why rule of 72. Who is behind this guy? Same thing as with the cryptocurrencies. Nobody knows who is the initiator of this blockchain technologies. Any questions? Anything you want to ask? Okay, let's. We have 15 minutes. Okay, there will be one activity more. Activity 2. Okay, you will solve this question and submit it as an activity 2. Even let's do it 2 questions, guys. Let's do it 2 questions. This question and this. Start with this question. While you're doing it, I'll create the activity 2. Now, in fact, there it goes. Okay. Sharing. So activity is there. Activity 2. In 20 minutes, it will be due. Deadline is 20 minutes from now. And I'll take the attendance. Sabina? Angelina? Adele? Ayola? Exat? Diana? Diana here? Arujan?
I'm here.
Arujan Beysinbekova.
Here.
Here, okay, she's online. Okay. Ivara? Arujan Berikbaeva? No. Camila? Yeah. Yes. We have one Camila. 2 Camilas. Oh, very good. Gulomoshoyeva. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, I will just a second. Yes. Here. This is the second question. Take a picture of the second question. Anida? Anida here? No. Zaryana? Nazar? Ardager? Diana? Mikhail? Evelina?
I'm here.
Ali Muhammad? Okay, now here. Dana? Maksat? Nargis? Altanay? Meryem? Okay, Camila? Suleiman, no? Aziza? Not here. Inkar? Aydan? Shahruz? Sent? Aizia? Jansaya? Jansaya here? No. Daniel? No. Sabina? Cengirhan? Aruzhan? Zoldubay kızı? Oh. Anyone who submitted, you can go. You're still working on that. Okay, who is fixing? Okay, those who are on Zoom, I'm just open the Zoom itself, so we'll be in touch. Just submit your activity there.